Hey, how y'all doing? It's been a while, hadn't it? I hadn't done Facebook Live for I don't know how many months. Just got back off the old Facebook jail for accumulation of ridiculous offenses, of course, but that's neither here nor there. So, Dune just came out on to buy, so I bought the digital since I'm not paying what fucking I have to pay $40 if I want to get the DVD Blu-ray, and then I have to buy a Blu-ray Blu-ray HD 4K Blu-ray player to play the shit. And so I said fuck you, and I decided to buy it. I mean, I could go download it on from certain sources, if you will. But I did not. I decided to go ahead and buy it. And I've already seen it 3 times before now, but I thought I'd go ahead and bless you with my review. First of all, beautiful. Beautifully shot. Hans Zimmer killing it on the soundtrack. That's not the issue. I didn't have an issue with any of that. They actually shot in the desert, which is a good thing. If you've ever seen the whatever the fuck they did on the Sci-Fi Channel, that 3-part fucking shit show, they try to do it on a sound set. I'm not sure how you think you can do that on a sound set. But anyway, so Villeneuve being Villeneuve, you know how we do. Long drawn out kind of sequences, which is perfect for this movie. However, the exposition, the plot was not great. So let me bring in of course Lynch's Dune, which is Lynch and his Dune. I mean, of course it's fucking just horrific. And the thing I always bitch about is that Lynch put too much of himself in there, but now of course I realize that every director does that. So the good thing about Lynch's Dune, and one of the few good things, is that actually the plot. They actually kind of threw in all the exposition, the kind of the details of the plot, what was going on with the houses, what was the real reason House Atreides was going to Arrakis to begin with. And that was an issue I had, was that they try to act like that the Atreides didn't know going in they were going to a trap. They knew damn well they were going to a trap. But this new movie seems to imply that they do not know that, and that in fact that this was the Emperor's idea. If you listen to Harkonnen, that was the Emperor's idea to do this, but of course, it was a joint transaction between the Emperor and House Harkonnen. So they already knew they were going to do it, right? So that bothered me a little bit, to be honest with you, and it always does. I mean, I'm not going to, let's go ahead and just, if you're a purist, you're never happy. Well, okay, this purist is never happy. And is never going to be happy with anything they put out. Any movie that's ever made, probably, based on a book. So, I mean, I realized that after I saw Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, and the whole series, and finally came to terms, like literally 3 years later, or 3 years ago, that I'm just going to have to deal with the fact that, it's not going to be exactly what you want. Of course, some people mature quicker than others, but I found my peace with Lord of the Rings, the movie, even though there were some issues, like elves do not belong in Helm's Deep. However, we'll get past, I'm past that. So, but seriously, I was not happy the way that they portrayed Jessica. Now, of course, again, I understand artistic license and all that stuff, but Jessica, and one of the trademarks of the Bene Gesserit is that they are in control of themselves, right? Like, they can control their reproductive processes, they can use the voice, of course, they can reduce their breathing to the point where they seem dead and can survive much longer that way. And so I did not like the way Jessica was portrayed as some sort of as a slave to her emotions almost. Now I want to go ahead and just, it's not because of emotions per se, and then she's too much of a woman. I don't give a fuck about that. That's not the issue. The issue, the Bene Gesserit are supposed to be chill as fuck, right? They're never supposed to show any, not ever, but I mean, it's general rule. It gives away their shit if they're too emotional about shit. I feel like the way they played her was just way too emotional. Only because of that. Only because of the way the Bene Gesserit are supposed. Now, yes, in the book and that's another thing is the inner dialogue. Inner dialogue was everywhere in the first one, which I didn't mind so much in certain places. And they decided to nix that in this one. But the problem is they didn't replace the inner dialogue with equivalent actions. I don't think they didn't represent well enough. I mean, that's fine. If you take away the inner dialogue, then you need something to replace it, right? So therefore, they should have taken that and shown her being more. I don't know. I don't know. Jessica was just too. They portrayed her as being too weak, and it irritated me mostly because, I don't know, because they always do that anyway as a trope. Women are always weak or whatever, and that already, of course, bothers me. But the fact that they take the one woman who should not have been portrayed as being emotional. And yes, it's her son. I get that. I mean, that's totally cool, and it would have been, I mean, I don't know. And I'm hoping, and I'm all over the place, but I'm hoping that a lot of this stuff will be ironed out in the second one, that we will see the character development of Paul and Jessica that's a whole nother thing. But Jessica becoming more of a chill-ass, badass Bene Gesserit instead of them trying to portray her as some sort of victim of circumstance, which she is, don't get me wrong, but she develops into more of a main character in what she's got to do, what she's got to fucking do, right? So we'll see. But in this movie, I feel like they portrayed her as being not enough in control of her emotions. Okay, so Paul, the brooding. You know what? What? Is this a young adult fiction? Of course, I know Dune is already that way. Paul Atreides is a broody teenager. I get that shit. But it's like like in Lynch's version, of course, and I'm going to fucking compare because that's the thing I have to compare it to. Pardon. Of course, they portrayed him as more innocent, I think, than broody. I feel like, right? But Chalamet, or whatever, how you pronounce it, Chalamet, how you manage it, Chalamet. However, they portray him as too. And I've seen it. He was in that the fucking Don't Look Up movie. He's fine. It's just like the thing with fucking. And this is a horrible comparison, but you tell somebody to act a certain way, like fucking the prequels, fucking what's his name, doing fucking Anakin. God, what a horrible fucking acting job. But it's only because he's doing what he was told to. Because if you see him in other shit, in other movies, he's fine. He's whatever. He's a regular fucking actor, right? It's just that the fucking director was so shitty. I feel like Villeneuve went too broody on this. All right. So Paul and Jessica, I'm not terribly impressed with the way they were portrayed, as per the director's orders, I'm sure. The way they were portrayed. Too broody and too emotional. Okay, against the text. Again, I'm not saying that as a personal affront or any commentary on society in general. Just this movie, okay? So, now, as far as the rest of the plot, of course, Gurney's, fine. He's good. I mean, Brolin, killing it. Brutal! He hated the Harkonnen. And Yui, perfect, good, fine. I don't have any problem with his character. Momoa, come on, man. How are you gonna play him? Yes, he's not supposed to be a great actor, right? He's there for that, right? But he's the perfect Duncan Idaho, man. Although, for this, right? Because in the book he's all fucking overreactive and he's homophobic and shit, to be honest with you. He's all super toxic masculinity, right? But Jason is like a good masculinity, I think, for this. And I appreciate that because, you know, him and Bonet are divorced and so y'all got a chance now. I'm too old, but some of y'all got a chance. That's all I'm saying. So, loved his character, loved the energy. Hawat, fine, okay, yeah. I don't feel like they played him enough in the plot, which of course goes along with them not putting enough of the plot into it, of the intricacies of the houses and the whole, because they didn't portray any of that stuff. They didn't portray the dinner party. They didn't portray any. They didn't mention Fenring, any of that stuff, right? So, you know, that's a little disappointing. But again, it's way better than Lynch's Dune. But if they could have imported, I feel like there could be a case to be made that you could take 84 Lynch Dune, take their attention to the plot, the intricacies, and the houses and the political stuff, and throw that in there, right? With Villeneuve's kind of attention to fucking the bigger picture, and the sound and the energy and the kind of the low key shit. I feel like there's an argument to be made. You could combine those two, and again, if you're a purist and a whiny bitch like me, that's just gonna happen. I'm never gonna be satisfied. So, so up until the attack, right? When of course the whole shit goes down or whatever. I don't really have. I'm trying to think. No, that part. Of course, anytime you come into battle stuff. I mean, if you've seen any of Villeneuve's other stuff, like the Blade Runner one, 2049. I mean, he's forget anything to do with visuals or sound. It's gonna be great, right? So like they attack their ass, and of course, shit gets blown up. Fucking whatever. Sardaukars show up, and the throats. You know, this throat scene, really? What year is this? I thought we got the throat singing and that thing out. Or the Gregorian chant shit back in the 80s. I don't know. Anyway, they bring the Sardaukar down. We take out the Atreides. Yui, of course, being Yui, he betrays. Yui's great. I feel like we need to talk about Harkonnen. It seemed like they tried to play too much off of, if you've ever seen Apocalypse Now, the way Marlon Brando portrayed the Colonel or whatever. I forgot his name. But it's the same. It's the way he massages his bald head. I'm like, okay, that's straight up rip off of fucking Apocalypse Now. So, I mean, of course, nothing's new under the sun. And if you're a director, you're going to direct, and you're going to have your influences. I don't have any problem with that. But it's just more of an observation, I guess. I don't know. I feel like that could have been done a little better. I feel like they underdid it too much. Like in this whole movie's about understatement. I think there's a lot of understatement, and that's kind of, again, that's just the way if you've seen any of his other movies, that's what it's kind of an understatement, right? It's not over the top, basically, is what I'm saying. So I feel like in this instance, he should have played Harkonnen harder, basically. Like, we ain't talking about whatever the crazy shit he was doing in fucking Lynch's movie, whatever. Closer to the Truth might have even been the one that Sci-Fi did. Even that's a horrible goddamn rendition. But maybe that one, more politically aware and more devious But I don't know. They just, I feel like they didn't give Harkin enough oomph. But maybe that'll be remedied in the next one. It all depends on the next one, man, and we'll see how that plays out. And we know that we're not going to get one, which is awesome, assuming the species survives that long, or that we won't be living in fucking FEMA camps or whatever. Well, whatever. Anyway, Beaster Bond, Batista is his name? Fine, he's there to play a role, and he's good at it. He was in 2049. He was a replicant in the first scene, basically, in that movie. And, whatever, he's a cool dude. He seems like a cool-ass motherfucker, so it's like him and Momoa, man. They both badass. So I think I covered, of course, Zendaya. Zendaya? I heard it pronounced that way. I'm not sure which it is. We don't know yet. She pops up in the last 5 minutes, so I feel like that's not even something you can really analyze yet. The whole scene with fucking Jameis. Could they make a black guy look any more insane? I mean, was that necessary? Really? I mean, like he was some kind of savage. Can we not do that? And why has he got to be black? Why can't he be like, I don't know, something that it just didn't seem right. It seemed like unnecessarily provocative or something. It's just like he's being unnecessarily, I don't know. They're trying to make him look savage, and it just rubbed me in the wrong fucking way. I don't know. But of course, and they did a whole, Paul wasn't supposed to fight him until they got back to the siege. And they did it there, just as soon as they met him, which didn't happen in the book, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't really bother me that much, to be honest with you, because the book is fucking ginormous. And even with the two-parter, you're going to miss some shit. I mean, it's only going to be, 6 hours? I'm going to go with 6 hours. I'm going to round up for the Dune total, which honestly still probably isn't enough for my taste, but obviously. How are you going to get fucking the Game of Thrones on HBO, but you can't get Dune or Lord of the Rings, for fuck's sake? Of course, Lord of the Rings, fucking Galadriel's titties be everywhere, so I mean, maybe that's better. But anyway, so, yeah. Overall, a good movie. Zendaya, that looks probably, I can't make a judgment on that. Kynes, apologies. And the shift to a woman being the parent of Chani, Zendaya's character, of course. And I didn't know how, but they didn't make enough of a deal, and it was never that big of a deal anyway. So her being a woman or a father or a mother of her, I guess, isn't really significant, honestly, because that never played a role in the book. And of course, people are always going to bitch about, well, it was a white dude in the book, so why are you trying to change history in the fucking book that is science fiction didn't actually happen? Shut the fuck up. So that's fine too. I mean, again, most of my problem is with some of the way, and I know this is directorial, the way Jessica and Paul. Paul's too broody. Jessica's not in control, apparently. All of a sudden, she's a fucking verklempt woman, and she's not in control, which just irritates the shit out of me. Would have liked more of a concentration on the plot, the exposition in the book, rather than, admittedly, beautiful, kind of thing. So that's my take on it. I did have somebody talk about the white savior trope, and I feel, and if you've actually read the books, which this is not going to shit on anybody saying that because they don't know if they haven't read the books, but this is basically a critique of the white savior trope, right? If you read the book, And Dune Messiah, the second book, you'll see that it's kind of like, it's like, oh, the white savior trope is shit. And they end up destroying everything and, going on a rampage throughout the universe and committing genocide on numberless, numberless planets and shit. So, I mean, it's not, trust me, this does not go well. That's why Paul, and of course I don't want to get too far afield on this, eventually decides to not go down the golden path. But again, that's the book, and then we're not going to, this is the movie we're talking, this specifically a very specific movie about Villeneuve's kind of interpretation of that book. So, I'm looking forward to 2. I want to say that I'm more into this than I am, but I'm not. And obviously I've watched it like 3 times because I have to. I don't have to. Obviously, nobody's holding a gun in my head. But my point is that I put a lot of energy. I put a lot of energy into it, and so when I finally saw it, I saw it in the theater. It was great. Come on, man! You're not going to see a better IMAX movie than Dune. Okay, well, you will, but not many. That's a badass movie in the theater. Okay, so if you can, and is it still in the theater? I don't fucking know. But if it's still in the theater, you need to go see Dune in the theater if you can, if you haven't already. If not, then go get the 4K version if you can. Because it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It sounds great and it's beautiful. However, with the caveats I mentioned plot-wise and the things that it left out, I think personally. But overall, I think I give it like a 7.5 out of 10, probably. Because obviously it's above average, but it's not the best it could be, right? To me, again. So, thanks everybody for listening to my rambling. And you're welcome for having me back on Facebook. And like I say on the podcast, until next time, y'all take it easy now. Okay?